You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and can will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have the present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questionings if you wish. All right. You good, dude?
You good, dudes? Everybody good? we are riding in to Monday night. It is 8:30 on June the 16th. My goodness. Hi, Ronnie. Hi, Ava. Joy, Indy, Jenny, Jackie. How's everybody doing? Okay, so this is a long-winded one, and so welcome everybody to tonight's live stream. Before I dive into this case, I'm sure everybody has been watching the news and know who Vance Luther Boelter is. I want to remind everybody before we get started. Sorry about that. Anyway, I want to remind everybody in the channel, I value everybody's open discussion, respectful dialogue. Everyone is welcome to share their opinion in the chat. Keep it civil, keep it respectful. Quick disclaimer, we're going to discuss sensitive and politically charged topics tonight. My role is purely informational. I'm going to remain as unbiased and factual as possible throughout the whole broadcast. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. Oh my Abellis. Abellis. Hi, sweetheart. Oh my gosh, where is my... Oh, my husband has my phone back there. I was trying to look and see. I'll have to go back and see who all got that. Oh my god, Abellis. This is so exciting. So freaking exciting. I can't even tell you. Oh my god, Okay. Everybody, welcome to the Guardians of Firelight. If you were gifted by Abellis, please say thank you. Oh my gosh, Abellis, I'm so excited. You made my whole night already. Thank you so much. Yay, Guardians. Thank you so much. Abellis, what can I do for you? You're always giving, very giving to the community. What can we do for you, Abellis? Are you done with my phone, sir? Abellis coming in clutch, of course. The 50 memberships for the speculating. Not the speculating. You can tell where I've been hanging out all day, haven't you? In for the Guardians of Firelight. I'm so excited. There's so many people. Okay, let me go in here. So many people. She is cool as hell. Cool as hell. I can't even. Say it ain't so. Curious Christine, hold my halo. Edith, bad girl. Cupcakes and cameos. Cherie from Aussie. Lula Adapa. Lil Red Zero. Evie. You've watched only bits and pieces. I'm glad we're covering it too, Ronnie. Whoa. I'm glad we're covering it too. Let me go back up here. This is going to take me all night to go through that, Abellas. Leah, True Crime Addict 8. Tamara Donan, Charming Jenna. It only shows me half of my phone. Okay, that's it. I'm just, you guys will have to trust me. Jenny, what are you having? Are you having food? Absolutely amazing, Abellas. Thank you so much in so many ways. I can't even begin to thank you. If there's anything that we can do for you. Batgirl got one? Yeah. If there's anything that we can do for you, please let me know, okay? So just like show of maybe like a 1 in the chat. Is anybody familiar with this case? This Vance Boelter case already? The investigation that's coming up. I love you too, Abellis. Thank you so much. Hannah, so good to see you. So good to see all of you. So I did a little bit of digging, and it's not really hard to find. It was just a matter of getting into the Pacer account, getting the federal documents, and then getting on the Minnesota website for the documents for Vance Boelter. So I'm going to go over a few things. You have to do your snakes. Oh yeah. Thank you so much, Abellis. So you've gone over it a little bit then. Just Ava? Ava's the only one who knows anything about this case? Ooh, that's what I hear. Yeah. I think I saw it in the documents. And then somebody saw him in the field. Cindy's here. Cindy from sunny South Florida. How are you? Abellis has not. Indy has not. So we're going to study this case together. We're going to study it together. It is a political case because it happened at a couple of the state legislators' homes, and you hit brick walls. I'll teach you anything you want to know about bringing documents, Anna. Anything that you want to know. It's not a secret. It's public knowledge, right? You're allowed to do whatever you want with those documents as long as they're. You guys are amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I'm getting off track here. So I'm little nervous. You've heard info here and there. You don't know anything about the victims or the suspect. I just know he unalived someone. He definitely did. It is political, Indy, but we're not going to be political. Like I said, I'll make the disclaimer a little bit. It is obviously political by nature of what it is, but it is just another case where a person attempted to take the lives of several people and actually took the lives of one and a dog, I believe. Um, so for me, it's going to be unbiased. It's going to be straight facts of the case that we can find, and we'll go from there. I'm going to try my best to remain unbiased and factual as possible. And, like I said, everyone's welcome. Share your opinions, keep it civil, respectful. It can be sensitive and it can be politically charged. So we may have people come in and out that don't necessarily agree with our statements or my statements. And that said, also my statements are my own. They have nothing to do with my chat. So if you're mad, you get big mad at me. Don't get mad at them. Yeah, he sure did, Cindy. He sure did. So, okay, so let's start out. We're just going to start out with some small details, and then we're going to go from there. Let me open up a window here so you guys aren't just looking at the little guardian, because he looks like he has an attitude today. Ooh. Okay, so early June 14th. That's where we're starting out at. Twin Cities, Minnesota. Boelter is 57. Thank you for hanging with me, Hannah. Thank you for hanging with you always. Yeah, the little guardian, he does look like he has a little more of an attitude today. I think his bushy eyebrows are growing on him. Lois is here. Hi, Lois. You haven't been paying attention to this. Your head explodes over the current status quo. Yeah, I can completely understand how that works. But I also want to bring attention to the fact that all of this happened during some of the things that I wasn't expecting. Who's making dinner? You're always cooking, Abellis. Are you always eating or always cooking? No worries. No worries. You don't have to attack me. We won't attack you or otherwise. Or if they attack me, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Um, he was disguised as a police officer, and he went to, let me go down here, my notes here, so I'm factual. Okay, June 14th, about 2 a.m., Boelter, he's 57. He was posing as a police officer. He had a marked SUV with lights, a badge, a uniform, a mask, and body armor. Hi, Nightbot. Is my Nightbot giving you guys crap? But he just tells you, I'm glad he's back, but he's so bossy. Um, he was knocking on the doors of some of the Democratic lawmakers. The first house he went to was John Hoffman, Senator John Hoffman, and his wife Yvette. Um, the second place he stopped, he went to Representative Kristen. Now I'm going to butcher some of these names. I'm going to try not to. Kristen Banner and Senator Ann Rest. And then he went to Brooklyn Park and he broke into former House Speaker Melissa Hortman's house. And so that's kind of where we're at. We're going to go over just a little bit. Well, we'll go over what he's facing both state and federal charges. So we're going to go over a little bit of what he's facing and just kind of discuss a couple of things. The Canadian creep who unalived 22 people was also disguised as a cop with a perfect, oh my gosh, with a car replica. That is scary. Oh my gosh, that is so scary. So we have all of the documents and I have a lot of the video up. And so we're just going to kind of wing it and share together and just kind of go over it together and share our opinions with each other. Let me know if the chat is in the way or if the little guardian is in the way, okay? All right, here we go. He did, Indy. Let me know if you guys want to hear this.
Good morning. My name is Joe Thompson, and I'm the acting United States Attorney for the District of Minnesota. Late last night, the U.S. Attorney's Office filed a complaint bringing an array of federal charges against Vance Luther Boelter for his horrific attack on our state and our elected representatives. Political assassinations are rare. They strike at the very core of our democracy. But the details of Boelter's crime are even worse. They are truly chilling. It is no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares. Boelter stalked his victims like prey. He went to their homes, held them out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood. Now, there's been a lot of information and misinformation out there about Boelter's crimes. We have filed a detailed 20-page complaint and affidavit that sets forth what happened in this case. I'd like to share some of that information with you now. In the early morning hours of June 14th, Boelter went to the homes of 4 Minnesota state politicians with the intent to kill them. Boelter first traveled to the home of Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman in Champlin, Minnesota.
Can everybody hear that okay? I'm stopping, obviously, for fair use. Actually, I need to put on that banner. There we go. Content falls under fair use. Disclaimer for purpose of entertainment, criticism, commentary, and research purposes. My opinions are just that, my own. Trigger warning, everybody, okay? If I miss some of the chat, don't hold it against me. Oh, is it cold? Is it cold? Okay, sounds good. All right, here we go.
Boelter arrived at the senator's home disguised as a police officer. He arrived in a black SUV with emergency lights turned on and with a license plate that read police. Boelter wore a black tactical vest and body armor. He carried a flashlight and a Beretta 9mm handgun. He also wore a hyper-realistic silicone mask. Senator Hoffman had a security camera. I've seen the footage from that camera, and it is chilling. Boelter knocked on Senator Hoffman's front door and repeatedly shouted, "This is the police, open the door." Senator Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, came to the door. When they opened the door, Boelter shined the flashlight in their faces and said there had been a shooting reported in the house. Boelter asked if they had any weapons. When Boelter lowered his flashlight, which he had shined in their face, they realized that he was not a police officer. They shouted out, "You're not a cop. You're not a police officer." Boelter then announced, "This is a robbery," and forced himself into their home. When Senator Hoffman attempted to push Boelter out and stop him from entering his home, Boelter shot him repeatedly. Boelter then shot Miss Hoffman repeatedly. Boelter fled the scene, and the Hoffman's daughter called 911. Unfortunately, the Hoffmans survived, although they remain hospitalized. After shooting Senator Hoffman and his wife, Boelter traveled to the home of another Minnesota state representative in Maple Grove, Minnesota.
Before we go on, I do have the documents. We'll go over some of them. I just kind of briefly want to show you what he looked like standing at their door in the middle of the night. I'm going to change the screen over and show you. This is ridiculous. This is so scary. This is scary to me. Look at that. He's literally got lights on in the driveway. See that in the SUV? Standing at their door in the middle of the night with his tactical flashlight, shining it in their eyes, banging on their door, saying there was a shooting in the area, in full tactical gear with a Beretta, with a 9mm. That is horrifying. Like the stuff that like terror movies are made of. Like, my gosh. Yeah, I mean, the mask was horribly made, but I mean, if you got a flashlight like flashing in your face, you're not going to see this as being that at first. You know what I mean? Horrifying. Gosh. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Scary ass mofo. It's just scary. It just scares me thinking about it. Like I don't even know. We're we're groomed to trust the police. We're groomed to trust the police. Jackie, thank you. Thank you so much. Let me move to, I want to see what that was. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I see the little thing. It doesn't ever show me what it is. But thank you very much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate you. Yeah, I'm so excited. So the goal tonight, well, one, I'm on the road to 1K, so I'm super excited. I'm not too far away from that. And two, I want to do a Would You've Rather fun stream with you guys. Like, I want you guys to come on panel, and I want to do the Would You've Rather thing, and I want to make it happy, go lucky, and fun. So I think it'll be a fun live stream. Indeed, thank you so much. You've been a member for 1 whole month. I can't believe it. That's so exciting. Indy, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Thank you much for the super chat. Ooh, and it looks like you're number one in the little purple crowns. Top fan. Top fan. Thank you so much. Jackie, super chat won't let me comment. Just a small token. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you so much. Remember, for 2 months. Everybody's so supportive. You guys are amazing. Joy, it's so creepy. So creepy. Well, thank you, Indy and Jackie. And Abellis, obviously, like always. He did look like a robot or a droid to me. And it does look like a horror film. It's so scary. It's so scary. Yeah, we won't read every single word of the documents. I'll make a separate video for that, kind of like, excuse me, kind of like Allegedly does. I won't bore you with every single thing, but I definitely want to go over the pertinent stuff because, yeah, Absolutely. Absolutely, Ava. I don't think there's any other way to describe that. Bellas, you're loved as well. You're loved as well. Okay, let's keep going.
Video surveillance showed that Boelter rang the doorbell at the state representative's house at approximately 2:24 a.m. on Friday night. Again, he was dressed as a law enforcement officer, wearing a tactical vest and body armor, carrying a handgun and a flashlight, and wearing that same hyper-realistic silicone mask. Again, the images, as you can see on the screen, are haunting. Now, fortunately, the state representative was not home. She and her family were gone on vacation, and so Boelter left. Boelter then traveled to the home of a Minnesota state senator who lived in New Hope, Minnesota. He parked in the street in that same black SUV with the police license plate. At about 2:36 a.m. on Friday night, after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman, New Hope police dispatched an officer to conduct a wellness check on the state senator who lived in New Hope. When the New Hope officer arrived at the scene, she saw Boelter's black SUV parked down the block with the lights on. The New Hope police officer believed that Boelter was a police officer who had been dispatched to the scene to check on the status of the state senator.
Even the police thought he was a police officer. How? Oh, gosh. Okay. Cindy, thank you so much. Loving your channel. Member for 2 months. I love you being here. You always keep me in check, girl. She's always watching. Always watching. Abellis, don't burn your food. Jackie's hungry. She wants some. She wants to know what you're cooking. It is horrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. I can't imagine what it would be like for me. And I'm just, and look at this poor guy over here. You can't see him. I'll have to. Oh yeah, it doesn't matter which side you stand on. None. Yeah, that's why I say I'm completely unbiased in this. This is just more of a an awareness type thing because I can't pick one side or the other. It has nothing to do with their politics. And look at that guy at the right-hand side. You see him with his mouth like that? Poor guy. This is turned his mouth sideways. Poor thing. Yeah, it's very scary.
The New Hope police officer pulled up next to Boelter in his car, rolled down her window, and attempted to speak with him. Boelter did not respond. According to the officer, he just sat there and stared straight ahead. So the New Hope police officer, who had been dispatched to the scene, proceeded to the state senator's home, and she waited for other law enforcement to arrive.
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry. So you're sitting next to this man, and you're put on high alert because there had already been a previous shooting. And then you see a strange car. Well, you see a car that looks like a police car and a man sitting in it that appears to be a police officer. You try to engage with this person, and instead of him engaging with you, and he just ignored you, and you chose to not pursue that any further and went ahead and went on about your business to the home. So you had the guy right there. You had the guy right there. That's scary. I don't know what I would have done in that position. I don't know. Thank you very much, Hannah. I really, really appreciate that. You're a great friend. Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done in that position, but I think as a person, if I knew I was in the area for some strange behavior and I saw a police officer and didn't recognize them, maybe I would call it in and ask who else had arrived before me or if I was first on the scene. I don't know. I'm not a law enforcement officer. Isn't that standard? I don't know.
When they did, by the time they did, Boelter had left the scene. Boelter then traveled to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman. At approximately 3:30 a.m., Boelter arrived at Representative Hortman's house in his black SUV with the police license plates. He parked in the driveway and left the emergency lights on his SUV flashing as if he was a police officer. Boelter approached Representative Hortman's home again dressed as a police officer, wearing the tactical vest and body armor, and wearing that hyper-realistic mask. He was armed and carrying a flashlight. Before he entered the home, 2 Brooklyn Park police officers arrived at the scene. They too had been dispatched to check on Representative Hortman after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman. When they arrived at the scene, they saw Boelter's black SUV parked in the driveway with the emergency lights flashing, and they saw Boelter standing in front of the house several feet from the door. When Boelter saw the officers get out of the car, he drew his weapon and began firing. He rushed into the house through the front door, firing into it. He repeatedly fired into the house, and when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman and her husband, Mark. The Brooklyn Park police officers fired at Boelter as he rushed into the home, but he escaped into the home and out the back. Officers recovered Boelter's 9mm Beretta, along with the body armor and the mask, behind the home along his path of flight when he fled on foot. They later searched Boelter's car, where they found 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. Boelter also had in his car notebooks containing a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Representative Hortman. Now, Boelter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of their family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes. He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights and a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight and a handgun. And of course, he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page right now. So approximately 2 a.m., he went to John Hoffman and Yvette Hoffman's house. They were both seriously injured, but they both survived, okay? Then he went to Kristen Banner's house. The home was empty, so there were no injuries in the second home he went to. He went to Ann Rest's house. He visited the home, but it looks like the police intervened, and so he left the scene. There were no injuries there. And then he went to Melissa Hortman and Mark Hortman's house, and he killed both of them along with their family dog. So he attempted to take many more lives than he was able to accomplish. Absolutely. I think the way he said Boelter, I think that's why Indy, like he said his name in like a kind of shitty way. And I think he was just kind of like, meh, you know? Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. So we'll go through it, but yeah, definitely meticulously planned. He did this like months ahead of time. They have like he said, detailed online searches. He did physical surveillance, like cataloging their homes, like the layout of their houses, their addresses, all of their family details, the people that they knew. So he had a strike list. And I don't know, I think we'll see it in the documents. We might not see all of it, but there were over 70 targets, all political. All political. So yeah, not spontaneous. Definitely not spontaneous. Yeah, I think that one of the videos that I have that we're going to see involves her providing some sort of either bus ticket. an e-bike and money, but I can't say for certain yet. I just kind of caught that on the way inside of the live. So hopefully we'll run into that. Hopefully.
The video of his arrival and shooting of Senator Hoffman is truly chilling. Again, it's no exaggeration to say this is the stuff of nightmares. There's a photo of the firearms found in Boelter's abandoned SUV. Based on these crimes, we brought a federal complaint charging Boelter with an array of federal charges. Counts 1 and 2 charge him with stalking. Count 1 charges him with stalking Representative Melissa Hortman using interstate facilities. And that's Title 18, United States Code 2261. The statutory penalties there are life in prison. Count 2, similarly, charges him with stalking State Senator John Hoffman using interstate facilities. The maximum penalty of that count is 20 years in prison. Counts 3 and 4 charge Boelter with the murder of Melissa and of the Hortmans using a firearm in violation of 18 USC 924J. And these are punishable by a term of life imprisonment or even death. And counts 5 and 6 charge him with shooting the Hortmans and the Hoffmans using a firearm, and both of those counts also carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. Now, before I finish my remarks, I want to say a little bit about law enforcement and the manhunt that we've heard about the last 2 days.
Lois, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's not, it doesn't show me what's on there. It's not letting me see. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lois. You're always so, you guys are so supportive. I don't even know what to say. I really, really appreciate you. I owe you guys a bunch of thank yous. I need to do another one, not just a thank you for the memberships, but actually a thank you for the super chats and stuff. I adore you too, Cindy. Absolutely adore you too. Oh my gosh. I didn't see it. I saw it in the thing, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Thank you so very much. Oh, I know what I got. I know what I got for you, Cindy. Let me go down here. This is so cute.
I love your face. I love your face.
It was repeating over and over. I love your face.
I love your face.
And I do, and you appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much. I love you too, Indy. Thank you. Thank you so much. Isn't it cute? My life here. There we go. Oh, I know everybody got to see it today. That was over in Allegedly's chat. I was so excited. I want to do a ton more of them. Let's see, where is that? See if I can find it. Anybody who didn't see it, I'll show you.
And all 404B is in, or do we get a hearing on what 404B can come in? If I open the door, do I get a hearing? We stop trial and I get a hearing. You don't need to yell at me either. Yeah, you are, and you do not need to talk to me that way. I'm very curious.
She's way cuter than Lori Dumbbell. I own a retired state police SUV, of course, with the lights and sirens and police riding removed. It's very easy to buy these. Too easy. Yeah. And then put the stuff back on it to fix it back up, right? To fix it back up. Some of the stuff might be removed off of it when you get it, but yeah, Can you hear one more time?
all 404B is in, or do we get a hearing on what 404B can come in? If I open the door, do I get a hearing? We stop trial and I get a hearing. You don't need to yell at me either. Yeah, you are. And you do not need to talk to me that way. I'm very curious. All 404.
This is way too cute.
So I'm working on everything. Just wanted to let y'all know that I have been really busy working on everything.
Hold on just a minute.
Okay. Tinder. Am I the asshole? That's what it stands for. Am I the asshole? Okay. Wow.
Anybody who hasn't seen that one just makes me giggle. That is allegedly speculating.
So I'm working on everything. Just wanted to let y'all know that I have been really busy working on everything.
Hold on just a minute.
Okay. Tinder. Am I the asshole? That's what it stands for. Am I the asshole? Okay. Wow.
Hold on just a minute. She's cracking the case with a southern drawl and a heart full of grace.
Yeah, she makes me giggle. She saw the one of Lori, and she messages me and she says, "I need one." That actually, I know you guys have never seen her, but factually, that looks like allegedly speculating's real life face. In case y'all wanted to know, she's super cute like that. We do need a baby Abella's. Oh, a baby Isabel. Oh, how cute that would be. And then I have been talking with my husband about starting to go on camera. See, my life is chaotic behind me. Right now, it's been really quiet, but it's chaotic behind me. The only reason I don't go on camera is because my dogs, my husband, and my boy, they're running around all the time. So where my desk sits, you can see everything behind me and all of the live, things that are happening in the house. It can be very distracting. But we are planning a move. I do too. I love them. I love them, and they're not hard to make. They're just time consuming because you got to edit them and everything. I think we need a baby Abella's too. But as soon as we get moved, I'll face my desk to a different place, and I think I'll start going. I think I'll start going on camera. I'm not scared of you guys. You guys go on camera for me, I'm sure. You like the mystery? Well, actually, I'm a 66-year-old balding male with no teeth. I'm just kidding. I have all my teeth. And I'm also not mad, but that's okay. Beef stir fry. Oh man, I'm jealous. All right. So now they're going to talk about the manhunt. So while they're doing that, let's just go over here because they've already talked about the charges. Let's just keep it in order here. My poor husband. I don't know if you can hear him behind me. He is just snoring up a storm. He is so tired. All right. Let's see this right here. So we won't, like I said, we won't go over much of it. Basically, he went over all of it. Anybody who has a Pacer account can get a hold of these documents. It's not that hard to do. If you guys like, I can put them on my Patreon. Who's not leaving Texas? No, I'm not leaving Texas. No, we're moving to a different area of the city. Oh, that would be so much fun. You don't have to hire me to do that, but it would still be fun. You're hangry? Well, that's all right. That's all right. That's okay too. You guys could be, didn't your parents tell you you could be whatever you want to be? It does turn out that some of that is not factual because there are people that are stealing other people's identity, and that's not legal, so don't do that. But yeah, I'm staying in Texas. I'm assuming you mean Colleen. Um, I've never been down there. Hi, how's it going, Eddie? AKA, well, the thing is, Colleen, yeah, I've never been down there. I've heard a lot about it though. Okay, so basically this right here was the you guys, you want to be and never pay rent. They don't pay rent. Hi, Eddie, Hannah says. So good to see you. Is it okay if we still call you Eddie? Is Thor here? Oh my gosh, Eddie, you can be Thor if you want to be. Back. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, back to the topic. It said we'll be here forever. Okay, so this is Elio. Actually, this is the federal document. So this is the FBI talking about this. So this probable cause basically planned a campaign of stalking and violence designed to inflict fear, injure, and kill members of the Minnesota state legislature and their families. After taking deliberate steps to reach his victims and prepare for the campaign, Belcher traveled to the homes of at least four public officials during the early morning hours of June 14th, 2024. And he had that mask on right after Friday the 13th. Make sure my teeth are in. Yeah, we definitely do. I agree. I agree. We're all too serious all the time, aren't we? Disguised as a police officer, heavily armed with firearms and body armor, Belcher approached these officials' homes under the guise of lawful authority. That morning, Belcher murdered two people and seriously injured two others. It does show that there was a preparation for all of this that was happening. So, evidence uncovered in the investigation shows he had extensive planning. Let's see down here. Oh, well, yeah, I guess I got to say it. I got to say it. As discussed below, Belcher's preparation efforts included identifying several websites that allow users to search for personal information of others, like home addresses and their family members' names. Belcher also made a list containing the names and home addresses of many Minnesota public officials, mostly or all Democrats. He found websites that sold hyper-realistic silicone masks, which looked like the mask Belcher wore during at least his shooting of John Hoffman, a senator in the Minnesota State Senate, and his wife. And he purchased materials from Fleet Farm for use in his shooting, including flashlights and resources that could be used to create the type of fake police license plate found on Belcher's SUV. Belcher drove the SUV to the home of Minnesota House of Representatives Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman, where Boltman shot and killed Representative and Mr. Hortman. Oh, goodness. Okay, so this goes over, and like I said, I'll put them up on Patreon. You guys can go get them from there as well. Um, it gives the details that we saw. Obviously, him at the front door of the Hoffman's house where he went first. And then it goes all the way through what we had already heard about each one of them. There was actually video footage. This is the one that they showed in the press conference. So that's another doorbell. This is the police. Open the door. This is the police. We have a warrant. And yelling and screaming that in a black tactical vest bearing a badge resembling those worn by law enforcement. Jeez. Then he went to New Hope. This is the last one. And this is the one, I believe, this, yeah, there it is. That's what it says. The police department's dash cam footage. So this is what she saw. This is what she saw as she was pulling up and trying to talk to this doofus. So the officer reported the individual sitting in the black SUV was a bald white male staring straight ahead. The officer tried to speak with that man, but he continued staring straight ahead and did not respond. I'm sorry, but I feel like, I don't know, for some reason I feel like she should have done a little something more proactive. Is that bad of me? That's just my opinion. You love Jason and Michael, but that mask is scary. Absolutely. 100%. I'd be terrified. You're so sweet. Thank you, Hannah. Right, Ava, listening to true crime and you'd be in heaven. Orange, it's so nice to see you here. He does look like a cyborg. I think I don't think he made it. I think he bought it offline. I think he bought it offline. That's even scarier if he made it. Oh my gosh. Let's see around here around 3:30 a.m. Local law enforcement, having learned of the shooting at Senator Hoffman's home in Champlin, went to the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, to conduct a safety check. Upon arriving, law enforcement saw a black Ford SUV parked outside the home. The black SUV resembled law enforcement squad car and was equipped with the police-style lights. Those lights were on and flashing, as you can see here. The license plate had been replaced with a fake police license plate. It literally said police. Who would that fool y'all? Yes, Hannah. Yes, I'm being unfair. I just feel like if I pulled up and I was worried about a shooting in the area and there was a guy sitting there that was supposed to be a police officer, supposed to be a fellow colleague of mine, and just completely ignored me, I think that would call red flag to me. But of course, like I said, I wasn't there, so I don't know what I would do in that moment, to be honest with you. If a single cop shows up to your house, call the police, make sure it's really them. Agreed. Absolutely. There's no you can also do that too. Women and men alike both can. If you're in a place where a police officer is pulling you over in a dark road and you don't want to stop in the middle of that, you can pull into a parking lot with lights and around other people. Like, as long as you're not in a high speed chase, they won't engage you in a high speed chase. You might let them know at the end of it, I just wanted to make sure I was in a public place with lights above me. You know, they might get a little pissed off that you didn't stop right away, but most reasonable police officers will understand, right? I don't know. Maybe, especially with the lights flashing, right? With the lights flashing. Well, there are times that police officers do things, on their own. But yeah, I would assume, especially if you're saying, "Oh, we have a possible shooting suspect in the area," definitely wouldn't dispatch just one police officer. So I guess maybe that too would would not cause her to have any alert. I don't know. It's slippery slope. So law enforcement arriving at Representative Hortman's house saw Boelter dressed in dark colors and standing near the front door facing the house. Look at that. You can see him there. Oh my gosh. How scary. Oh my gosh. He's standing there literally the flashlight. Like you can see how bright it is even in the picture. Yes, you can call 911 if you're being pulled over and let them know that you're not going to pull over until you get somewhere where you feel safe. You absolutely can do that. That's great advice. That's great advice. Two or more have to be there as well in the UK. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, rest in peace, Sarah. So this image is from the law enforcement footage depicting Boelter outside the Hortman house. So moments after their arrival on scene, Boelter fired several gunshots into the house as he moved forward, entering the Hortman's house. In dashcam footage from the scene, moments after Boelter fired those shots as he moved into the house, a second set of gunshots can be heard. At the same time, several flashes appear in the entryway windows. Oh my gosh. So the scenario in my mind was that he had done all this before anybody saw any of this and got away. He was there and the police were there. They were there. Oh my gosh. We do not pull up in UK or stop in a street for police alone. Sarah Everard was falsely arrested by an active police officer in London. He unalived her and drove her hundreds of miles away and dumped her. That's pathetic. That's sad. It went back to his family. Wow. Right? It's really good advice, Ava. It's really good advice. You guys are so smart here. Oh my gosh. About the same time, officers moved forward to the home's front doorway, where they saw Mr. Hortman lying on the floor. Law enforcement approached the falling Mr. Hortman, who had been struck by multiple gunshots, to try to provide medical assistance. When officers entered the home, they found Representative Hortman suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Officers also found inside the home the Hortman family dog, gravely injured. Representative and Mr. Hortman died from their injuries. Boelter fled the Hortman house, leaving behind Boelter's 2015 Ford Explorer SUV that was parked outside the house. After obtaining a warrant, officers searched the vehicle. I know from my training and experience that Ford did not manufacture 2015 Explorers in the state of Minnesota. Officers found evidence Officers found evidence tying Boelter to the SUV, including a bill for a storage unit with Boelter's name. Officers also found the license plate for the SUV Boelter drove that night. Public records show the SUV is registered to Boelter and his wife. Wow. So officers also found approximately 5 firearms in the SUV, including a semi-automatic, an assault rifle, as well as a large quantity of ammunition organized into loaded magazines. They also found a medical kit containing wound treatment supplies and several eye masks of the kind that might be worn while sleeping. Wow. 1, 2, 3. One in the seat there. 4. Wow. That is a lot, isn't it? That is a lot. That's scary as heck. From the SUV. Uh-oh. I thought I went offline or something. Okay, there we go. My link snapped. Okay. From the SUV, officers recovered several notebooks full of handwritten notes. Listed among the pages of those notebooks were the names of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal public officials, including Representative Hortman, whose home address was written next to her name. One of those notebooks contained lists of internet-based people. Search included True People Search, well, all of these places where you know to go to find background checks and whatnots. I know from my training and experience and the training and experience of other officers and agents involved in this investigation that these websites aggregate data from various online and offline sources to provide the querying user details about the searched for person, such as home addresses, phone numbers, and information about family members. So these are his notes. These are pages from his notebook. Intellis, been verified, ownerly, address needed, U.S. search. Wow. Neighbor who, address needed. He did so much research just on that. That's scary. Did I lose you guys? Are you still here? Okay. You guys got quiet on me. Scared me. Like I know it's sad. Don't leave. I'm sorry. It's scary. Okay, I thought I lost you. Okay, we're still here. Everybody was very everybody was very honed in. Okay. All right. Let's keep going here. In addition, officers found a Garmin GPS navigation device in the SUV. That device's trip history included the address of Portman's home in Brooklyn Park, public official one's home in Maple Grove, and Senator Hoffman's home in Champlin. The trip history also included the home addresses for at least 2 other state officials. No worries, Abellis. It hiccuped, so I just thought we were gone. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you, Ronnie. I was worried. Yeah, it's a lot of premeditation. Absolutely scary. Yeah, StreamYard hates us this last couple of weeks, right? I think I was the last live I had a couple of days ago. We were doing protests, and Abellis gifted 20 memberships, and we couldn't even tell who got them. I couldn't tell for 2 days. I had to go back and look. Oh yeah, they found him. They went on a manhunt. Yeah, that's where we're leading up to. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Upon searching the surrounding area, law enforcement found components of a disassembled Beretta 92 semi-automatic handgun and at least 3 magazines strewn across the ground a few blocks from Representative Hortman's home. Rounds contained in one or more of those magazines bore the same head stamp on the discharge cartridge casing found within or in the immediate vicinity of Representative Hortman's home. Records accessible to law enforcement indicate this Beretta was purchased by Boelter in or about January 2000. So, I mean, everything tied back to him. There was no question of who did it. And then literally had all of the smoking, smoking arms, smoking handguns. It's ridiculous. Literally had them all. Answer this for me, Ava says. I got in an accident, hit from behind. When all was taken care of, a cop followed me home and sat there. What the? Is that normal? What would anyone here do? So you got into an accident in your car, you were hit from behind. When everything was done and said, all of the insurance and everything was exchanged, the cop followed you home and sat there for a minute. Maybe he was just making sure that you got home okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe. Is it weird? I don't know. Why did you just go out and ask him? I don't know. I'm like, can I help you, sir? But yeah, call 911 like Indy says. Call dispatch and tell them and ask for another one for something. It's You think he wanted to have the self have them do it? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't got to the manhunt yet. Did it come down to that? We'll have to see. I haven't seen. So in the same general area, law enforcement also found a flashlight, a tactical body armor vest, and a mask, all consistent with those Belcher can be seen wearing earlier in the morning. So there's the question on the mask. There's the mask right there. So they did find it. Maybe he was just finishing his paperwork. Maybe he was waiting to see if you were getting home okay and then just had to finish out, maybe make sure you got there okay, Ava. Maybe it was good intentions. That's okay, Hannah. Put on that hat, girl. Look at this mask. You see this? So you put it on, and like literally the ears, like it looked so real in the dark, I'm sure. Especially with a flashlight in your face, like you wouldn't have been able to see it. Yeah, a little jaundice mask, but yeah, a little jaundice. It's crazy. According to records obtained by law enforcement, Belcher purchased 3 Beretta handguns as well as many other firearms. Subsequent investigation and Belcher's apprehension. Okay, so this is where we'll put this to the side. This is where they're going to start talking about the manhunt. So let's go through that.
Over the past 48 hours, federal, state, and local law enforcement from throughout the state of Minnesota have worked together to carry out the largest manhunt in Minnesota history. Now, a lot has been said about law enforcement in recent weeks, but make no mistake, the men and women of our federal, state, and local law enforcement put their lives at risk and on the line to keep Minnesota safe. They work tirelessly, day and night, to make sure that the tragic events of Friday night ended without further violence or bloodshed. We owe them all a debt of gratitude, and they will forever have my respect and admiration. I'm going to turn it over to Special Agent Alvin Winston from the FBI.
Thanks, Joe. Good morning. My name is Alvin Winston, and I serve as the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Minneapolis Field Office, which covers the states of Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. I want to begin by extending my deepest condolences to the families of the victims and to the community that has been shaken by this devastating act of violence. Our thoughts remain with those who are grieving and all who have been impacted by this tragedy. Over the weekend, the people of Minnesota and the nation have been watching closely as this case has unfolded. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension provided a detailed update yesterday, so I won't repeat those specifics. This was a targeted attack against individuals who answered the call to public service. The FBI's role in moments like this is clear: to stand alongside our partners, bring federal resources, intelligence capabilities, and reach to the effort, not just to apprehend the individual responsible, but to understand the full scope of the threat. That work continues. This case became the largest coordinated manhunt in Minnesota's history. We are proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with our law enforcement partners across the state. No single agency could have done this alone. And because of that unified effort, a dangerous individual was taken into custody. Let me say this clearly. Political violence has no place in this country. The FBI, alongside our partners, will remain focused on the work ahead and on ensuring justice is served. And with that, I'll hand it over to you.
I understand where he came from, but I guess he was just letting us know who he was.
Thank you with those comments. And we're thankful today to see these charges filed. Early on, with our partners from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other federal partners from the ATF, United States Marshal Service, and others, they provided assistance to the team of local investigators from the Brooklyn Park Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, and the BCA that were working on this right to begin with, along with all the other hundreds of people that stepped up with the Champlain Police Department as well in this to pursue this justice. You might be asking, because we see a lot of times these cases, go in various orders when they are, but this is an indication that the United States Attorney's Office stands along with us in the state of Minnesota, that when somebody and an evil individual decides to move this and create fear in our communities and commit evil acts, that we will pursue every possible charge that we can, from the state charges that you've learned about today to these federal charges that were discussed early on. And I'm grateful for the leadership of the United States Attorney's Office and the FBI for helping us move that forward so quickly in a coordinated approach. We do that because, as SAC Winston said, in situations like this, we have individuals that step up to serve their communities. They are elected officials across our state. And when an individual chooses to target them for their role in representing all of us, it's an incumbent upon all of us to put all the resources forward to hold that individual accountable, to seek justice, and to make sure that we are working together to show the community across Minnesota and the United States that political violence is never okay. We as a country are formed on the basis that we have political discourse and that we have debates ongoing on what we do, and that we elect people day in, day out to represent us. And when somebody tries to undermine that, it's important for all of us to hold that person accountable so that we can move forward as a country and have a system in place that a representative government, and that we provide the protections for those individuals and their families moving forward. And so I'm thankful for these charges today to move this forward, and the great work of the United States Attorney's Office partnering with us to move forward on this. And with that, they'll take some questions.
Okay. Well, let's go back over here, because they didn't tell us a whole lot about the manhunt specifically, but it does here in the charges. So let's go over that. This will be the first time I'll say some of the documents actually give you more of an insight to what happened than the actual press conference did, huh? That's crazy. But it is the truth today. Okay, so Mrs. Belter consented to a law enforcement search of her phone. That search revealed that around 6:18 a.m., Mrs. Belter and her family and other family members received a group text from Belter. In that text, Belter wrote, among other things, "Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody." Around the same time, Mrs. Belter received a text from Belter stating, amongst other things, "Words are not going to explain how sorry I am for this situation. There's going to be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy, and I don't want you guys around." Mrs. Belter consented to a search of her car. From the car, law enforcement recovered 2 handguns, approximately $10,000 in cash, and passports for Mrs. Belter and her children, who were in the car with Mrs. Belter at the time. So there's your answer on that. There is your answer on that, Hannah. How could she not know? The fact is that I think that she did know. She did know. You don't get your handguns, your kids, your passports, your car ready and take out $10,000 in cash without knowing that something's coming up. Unless, theoretically, hypothetically, whichever, unless he put all of that in the car and she didn't know about it. That's the only thing I can say. Unless he put all of that in the car for her and she didn't know about it. But I'm going to surmise that she probably did know about some of the things that were happening and some of the comings and goings of her husband. That's just purely speculation on my part. Law enforcement obtained cell phone location information for multiple phones known to be associated with Belter. That location data led law enforcement to a residence on Fremont Avenue in northern Minneapolis. Law enforcement also found that same Fremont Avenue address in the Garmin's trip history described above. At the Fremont home, law enforcement encountered and interviewed a man who said he lives in the Fremont residence and, he explained, shares it with Belter at least part-time. That leads us to the roommate. No, let's find this roommate. Hello, friend. Where are you? Okay. He did 2. The one from the day before and then the one after his friend was found. So let's talk about the first one. Okay.
No, because he was on call for work and he'd always say, "Yeah, I need rest for work." So I'm sharp because he was extracting eyeballs. So gotta be sharp for that.
I remember him walking out of the house or hearing him walking out or anything like that.
No.
Is it unusual for him to go to bed at 7 p.m.? I mean, when you say...
Well, it depends on the shift, no, because he is working all kinds of hours. Didn't seem odd, no.
Did he give you any emotional message, said that he loves you besides the text messages or something like that that seemed off?
Well, he said that he made some choices. And he said, "You guys don't know anything about it," but yeah. So that's why he said he didn't have much time to live.
Another big ask. Do you mind if I take a picture of the text message?
Nah,
I can block out his number.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I kind of keep that private because I read it to people, and I don't know. I just got to get going. I have to.
Is his phone still ringing when you called?
No, it's
Go straight to voicemail.
Yeah, just voicemail. I can't. He won't. He doesn't want me involved.
Yeah.
So he's not going to call me. He's not going to receive calls from me.
Can we at least see the text?
Now, how would he know that he doesn't want him involved? I mean, besides the fact that he didn't tell him anything that was going on, but afterwards, like to say that statement right there makes me wonder if he knows more than what he's saying, because that's factually the same thing. I know his breathing is concerning. I agree. But I think it makes it suspect for me because the wife gets the message that says, "I don't want to implicate anybody in anything." And so then you have this guy who's like, I don't know anything. He just kind of stays here once in a while and, does his thing and plucks the eyeballs and leaves.
Well, then everyone's taking pictures. I don't know why I'm so. He sent it to me and a friend, so it wasn't just me. And I don't know if my friend would think about me sharing that with everybody. I mean, I read it out loud just so you guys could get a context of what I feel when I read it.
Yeah.
And
Can you read it to us? We were in here yesterday.
yeah, I know. But I got to really get going.
Do you have a message for him in case he's watching? He watches. Do you want to send him a message?
Yeah, tell him I love him and he's still my best friend. And I hope he doesn't kill anybody else. And I hope.
That is so weird to me. That is so weird to me. You don't want to be implicated. Your friend doesn't want to implicate you. Tell him, hope you don't kill anybody else, dude. You're still my best friend. Like, what you did is forgivable. Like, just taking somebody else's life out of the middle of nowhere is just forgivable. It's cool because, they didn't have families or they didn't have people that loved them too, right? It's okay, cool, whatever. The second place to live. So with this roommate, because obviously he was married and had kids. Apparently they had financial issues and his security business was failing. So he reportedly started crashing at a friend's rented place owned by David Carlson, and instead of staying in his house at Green Isle, and apparently he stayed over there because he had a job doing things. I think something about a morgue. I've heard he might try a nebulizer, right? Something about a morgue and something about body parts. I think eyeballs specifically. I can't say for certain, so I don't want to speak on it too much. I don't know. I know that apparently it was for convenience and instability due to his jobs, probably financial strain, economic instability, and the flexibility to go between the Twin Cities. I'm not sure, Ava. I'll have to look that up. Following the federal court documents, which we're going to finish reading, basically, apparently he returned for a little while to the apartment to do some post-attack things, selling an e-bike and a car, and taking out some cash before he left. So I think he did return to the house. It also explains how authorities located and followed his trail after the rampage because his presence at his secondary address gave law enforcement the investigative lead. So he definitely in her trunk. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if she put it there or if he put it there. I don't know. So he used it there. It was motivated by practical needs, financial, all that kind of stuff. So
He surrenders himself for the sake of his family.
You must be disappointed.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to see him killed, and I'll still visit him in prison, I guess. That's what else are you gonna do? But I just don't want him to give up on life or kill himself.
Are you concerned he may have already done that?
Sure.
You said that he said in recent days he made choices that you don't know about. Tell us about those conversations, please.
Those weren't that was a text. Yeah.
He didn't do anything in your interactions with him in the days before this happened that made you wonder.
No, that made me call the police. The
text did.
Yeah.
But any conversations you had in the last few days prior to this, nothing seems.
Well, like I said, we had our separate lives. I worked and he worked, and he was here, and sometimes he'd go down and we'd hang out, but we would never, sometimes politics would be on the TV, but he was never really anything that was in-depth conversation about, just comments, And
just for the record, your name is David Crossing?
Yeah, with a C. Because this Minnesota, you guys don't know Carlson?
yeah, guys, spell my name right in the papers. Carlson. It's Minnesota. Get it right. Dude's got a tune. Sorry. Yeah, I agree, Hannah. Sydney's right. Like, you need to shut up. You're like looking for your 15 minutes of fame. If you cared about your friend, you would have talked him out of it from the beginning. We watched some politics. You know more than what you're saying. This dude just got out of the shower too. I thought maybe he was like out doing lawn work and so he was like sweaty and whatnot, but he like literally shaved, made himself clean shaven and everything, got out of the shower and it was like, oh, waiting for the press to come by. Okay, I'm just being shitty. I don't know that to be true. I'm just saying. Um, okay, Ava, you asked me a question. Melissa and Mark Hortman, the two that passed, had 2 children. They have a daughter and a son. And then the dog Gilbert was also wounded in the shooting, and the children obviously had to euthanize the pet after the shooting. His children did make a public statement. They described them as devastated and heartbroken, and noting that their parents were the bright lights at the center of our lives, and thanked law enforcement for their swift actions that likely prevented further loss. My guess is they're okay. Yeah, I was going to say they don't children, but they seem like very well versed if they're small. The Hoffmans also have a child, an adult daughter, who was present during the shooting. Their mother, Yvette Hoffman, shielded her daughter from the gunfire, and the daughter emerged unharmed. Wow. Why the dog, bro? What did the dog do to you? Yeah, he probably knows more than he's saying. I don't know. I find that he has an attitude.
Carlson. Carlson. Norwegian, Swedish. Yeah. But yeah.
Thank you. I don't want to take more of your time, so thank you so much.
Yeah, we don't want to take more of your time because generally you have an attitude. Thank you for nothing, for no information whatsoever, dude. Yeah, no innocent baby dog. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So, okay. We're gonna keep going here. And then we'll do one more and then we'll get back into the document so we can finish that up. It's asking, how did Vance Boelter get from Brooklyn Park to North Minneapolis?
Well, one of the most eye-catching aspects of this minute is how the suspect got from Brooklyn Park to Minneapolis and then to Green Isle.
Yeah, everybody was trying to figure out how is he getting around. Well, prosecutors, we learned, are saying that it involved a bus stop meeting, a couple $1,000s, even an e-bike. Fox 9's Paul Bloom is taking us through this part of the story. So, Paul, a lot coming to light here in these federal charges, obviously not as much in the state. You're covering the state side of things. What do we know today?
Yeah, Amy, we're at the state, the government, Hennepin County government center, of course, the state courthouse, but clearly the legal case in this now focused in the U.S. District Court. But yes, we come through those same court filings. Obviously, been with you all weekend long as the state's largest manhunt unfolded, ending last night. But one of those interesting nuggets that sort of helped us connect all of the dots is he allegedly abandons that security car, that faux-looking police car at the Hortman home on Saturday morning, and then would eventually end up in Green Isle. How does he get there? Well, now we've learned there is this random meeting with a witness at a North Minneapolis bus stop. He wants to buy the person's e-bike for $900 or so. They take the bus back to this person's house. They drain a couple $1,000s out of Boelter's bank account.
The heck?
And for a total of $900, Boelter drives away with an e-bike and that Buick sedan. And that Buick sedan would subsequently be abandoned near his home in Green Isle, which would subsequently lead to his surrender to authorities last evening. But yeah, this random meetup, we don't know how they met. There aren't a ton of details, but they had never met before. $900 got him the car, got him the e-bike. There were some reports that people actually saw him on the e-bike down there in Sibley County. But just one of those interesting, moments in time that help us connect those 43 hours from the
He's like this charismatic guy that just goes from place to place and was able to talk anybody into anything, apparently. Give me your bike, I'll buy it for whatever. Take me to the ATM. Oh, yeah, give me your Buick, by the way. I know it's just, I'm a good dude. Believe me. Just trust me.
Deadly attacks to his arrest last night.
Paul, a lot has been said since Saturday when Boelter's wife was stopped by authorities on 169, and now today about the reported communication between Boelter and his family, particularly about the role of Boelter's wife in all of this. What can you tell us there?
Well, we're seeing text messages for the very first time, communication between Boelter and the family while he's on the run. And not surprisingly, investigators quickly got up on Boelter's cell phone. So let's take a look at one of these messages. Boelter allegedly sending to a family group chat that includes his children, quote, "Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody." And then the second, words are not going to explain how sorry I am for this situation. He writes to his wife, "There's going to be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy. And quote, I don't want you guys around." Now, law enforcement would eventually stop the wife, the children up in Onamia, about an hour north of the metro. And in the car, it was interesting. They found, said today, $10,000 cash. They found family passports. They found a gun. Yet, there were questions. Why wasn't the wife at all taken into custody given what was found in that car? The answer we got today was the wife was cooperative. She had the legal right to carry that gun. The story made sense. And so far, they've let the family go. But authorities made clear that if they do find that somebody aided, abetted, helped before, after, during, that they will come back and revisit potential charges against other people. But for now, the wife, the kids, we don't know where they are, but they certainly are not in any sort of custody.
Hey, Paul.
So that begs the question. Me too, Lois. Me too. I'm not sure why they're doing that. Maybe just to maybe for engagement, probably. I'm going to guess it's for engagement. That begs the question. So they're saying she was cooperative. She was, she was legally able to carry what she had. I don't remember turning it on. I know that they said, allegedly speculating said today in her live that it was experimental. Like she actually reached out to YouTube and asked them about it. So I don't remember turning them on, but. Oh no, Abellis. Oh no. But anyway, so how would you be driving away? Okay, so maybe the $10,000 was in the back, the gun was in the car. Maybe they carry that regularly. But what about the passports? Do you guys carry your kids' passports around with you everywhere you go? I know I don't. I don't carry mine, and I don't carry my son's. I don't do that. I don't know. Content Angel, so glad to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, I don't carry my passport around like that. I think, most of us have either a driver's license or an ID, a state ID of some sort, Yeah.
Well, we just have a couple of seconds left here, but the one thing that jumped out to me is we knew that Brooklyn Park Police they confronted the suspect. What we didn't know was that there was a bit of another interaction between police and the suspect prior to that. Can you let us know a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that was New Hope. He visited the homes of 4 legislators early Saturday morning in New Hope. Word has started to spread that there's been a shooting at the senator's house, Hoffman's house. There's some preemptive checks. And this New Hope officer apparently was heading to that house, and she encounters again that squad-looking car, or the way the charges read, and what we heard during the news conference is she thought they were law enforcement. She tried to make some contact with them. He ignored her, kept staring straight ahead. She kind of left to go check the house itself. By the time everything else got sorted, that car was gone, Boelter was gone, and then he would continue on, of course, to Brooklyn Park and the tragedy that unfolded at the Hortman house. So going to be some questions about what happened. What did that officer know? Why wasn't she a little bit more curious about that vehicle that would have been out of place at 3 a.m. in New Hope. But yeah, there was that moment in time where perhaps it could have even been thwarted just a little bit sooner.
Yeah, so many details pouring out today.
Yeah, there's a lot of details on it. And there's a lot we still don't know, probably a lot that we won't know, just based on the fact that it's both a federal and state case. All right, let's go over here through these documents a little bit further here. You guys are troopers. I really appreciate you staying and hanging out with me. I know back and forth between document reading and watching some of the stuff is not the most interesting thing in the world, but I enjoy it. And I'm glad that I find people here that actually like it as well. You guys are amazingly patient. Take that. Yeah, he's so they've got state charges and federal charges. So yes, Hannah, so far, unless they condense it some way or another, but yes. That's because you're a warrior, Cindy. Yeah. Okay, so you consented to the search. We saw that. Conducted the warrant search of the Fremont Avenue residence, which is the guy that we just saw, the happy little roommate. Officers found a handwritten list of names containing many of those public officials named in the notebooks found in Belter's SUV as described above. Officers also found a purchase receipt from Fleet Farm from June the 9th, which documented the purchase of the things like the flashlight, the tactical rifle case, 2 types of firearm ammunition, and the materials believed to have been used to create the fake police license plate attached to the SUV. Law enforcement also found several notebooks containing handwritten notes. These notebooks were written in addition to those recovered from the SUV. Among those pages of those various notebooks, officers found listed the names and often home addresses of numerous Minnesota public officials, including Representative Hortman, one of the people Boelter shot and murdered on June the 14th. Beneath her name, a notation reads, "Married, Mark, 2 children, 11th term." Mark was the name of Representative Hortman's husband. Another notation in one of the recovered notebooks names Hortman, her address, and her spouse again, with the added notation, "Big house, off golf course, 2 ways in to watch from 1 spot." This is an apt description of the Hortman's home, which backs up to a golf course. Bro, that's scary. You never know who's watching you, especially as a public and political figure. Another notebook notation lists 3 websites for companies that sell face masks similar to the one Boelter wore. There we go, Ronnie. So it was bought. One of those websites described itself as your premier destination for high-end, hyper-realistic silicone masks. Another of those websites asserts that it sets a new standard in hyper-realistic silicone masks. That is scary as hell. Oh yeah, Ava, meet content, meet Ava. Got a message. Well, they're gonna have to wait. Oh, there's tornado watches in Minnesota. Oh, okay. Well, I don't live there, but I'm glad I know that there's tornado watches. Y'all be safe up there. Mask advertised on one of the websites noted in the notebook Boelter wearing a mask immediately prior to his shooting of Senator and Mrs. Hoffman. So in the middle of the night, that's pretty freaking scary. I mean, if I saw that at the front door, I don't know that I would know that was a mask. Would you? I wouldn't. I don't know that I would have known. It's a pretty pale, bald guy, but I don't know in that picture right there to see it. I don't know that I would have known. Who even are you, sir? Oh. According to an interview later conducted by law enforcement with Witness 1 at approximately 7 a.m. Oh, yeah. On June 14th, Boelter met Witness 1 at a bus stop at 48th Avenue North and North Lindale Avenue in North Minneapolis. Witness 1 reported to law enforcement that he had no prior connection with Boelter prior to meeting at the bus stop. According to Witness 1, Boelter had 2 duffel bags with him, Boelter asked to purchase an electronic bike from Witness 1. After Witness 1 agreed, they together boarded a bus and traveled to Witness 1's residence. After arriving at Witness 1's residence, Boelter asked to purchase Witness 1's Buick sedan as well. Witness 1 agreed. Hi, Rubber. Welcome in. I'm glad you've been sleeping all day. You needed it. You needed to sleep. You needed to sleep. Yeah, who are you, dude? Who are you even? So, so let me get this straight. I'm a very trusting person. I will not lie about that. I'm a very trusting person. But how many of you put a 1 in chat if you would meet somebody random at a bus stop and let them follow you to your residence off of the bus in a major city? Anybody? Is there anybody that would do that? Yeah, no. None of y'all would do that. No, hell no. That's insane to me. It's insane to me. This guy's either got the best charisma, like, give me a break. It's insane to me. Okay. Around this time, Boelter and Witness 1 drove in the Buick. Okay, not only that, but oh my God. Okay, here we go. They drove in the Buick to a U.S. bank branch location in Robbinsdale, Minnesota, where Boelter withdrew $2,200 from and thereby emptied an account in his name. Cameras at U.S. Bank captured Boelter wearing a cowboy hat. So not only did you get off of the bus at your residence, you put him in your car, drove him to the bank to empty an ATM to buy your car and your e-bike, and didn't ask yourself why. I know, Kitty, it's ridiculous. Thor, I know. I know, it's ridiculous, Kitty. You should hear the things this guy did, Kitty. He did some awful things. I can't even imagine. Yeah, it is a little far-fetched. In my thought process, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, did he know this guy? I mean, obviously his stuff was politically motivated. So there are a lot of people that'd be like, okay, guy, when this happens, this bus runs, from this area at this time. I'll meet you there. But if he did do that preemptively, why would he have? Of course, I don't know that he could have run around with the 2,200 cash thinking he might get caught. See, I don't have the mind of a criminal. It's so hard. It's so hard. That's like Lori Daybell's brother Adam using the burner to check his Jeep. Yeah, clown. Freaking clown. I agree. What doesn't make sense to me as a Minnesota resident, why those targets? There's so many more high profile controversial ones to go after if you have beef, just saying. Well, so he had a manifesto. And it's anywhere from 45 to 70 names listed in there. So he could have, I mean, he had so much firepower. He had a list. He planned on going after a whole lot more. He was hoping he didn't get caught. Thank goodness, Hannah. What'd you say? What'd you say, Hannah? Oh, you could sit next to me. Okay. Kitty is definitely in agreement. Who's mad about? Oh, Thor. Thor is definitely mad about this. He is not. He wants his dinner. He's like, you've been online too long. I'm enjoying myself. We'll stay for a while. Something in the milk ain't clean. Amen. Orange Rose. Abella says hello. Yeah, he had a huge list. Low hanging fruit. They're easier to get to than. Yeah, that's true too. That's also comparatively. It could be comparatively the case. But he did have the risk. I mean, who could he get to? Two of them weren't home. Two of them weren't there. So, yeah, he had a big plan. I don't know. Rubber, how are Meat and Luna? Abellis wants to know. The cats are always starved, even after eating. I agree. It's Lola, okay? Lola Abellis. Get the names right. Okay, so Belcher reportedly provided about $900 to the witness to complete the purchase of the e-bike and the Buick. So you bought an e-bike and a Buick for $900 and they both ran? What? Around 2:30 a.m. on June 15th, law enforcement received information about a possible sighting of an individual riding an e-bike approximately 2 miles northeast of Belcher's family home in Green Isle, Minnesota. However, law enforcement was unable to locate Belcher at that time. Let's see if it's this. Let's see if this is this lady. Let's see if this is her.
We begin with those disturbing new details about the attacks on Minnesota lawmakers.
Today, the U.S. attorney revealed that the suspect had the attacks well planned out.
It's pretty clear from the evidence that he's been planning these attacks for quite some time. There's voluminous writings, as you've seen in the reporting, that were found both in his car and his house about his planning, lists of names and individuals.
That list, investigators say, had dozens of Democrats on it. Those attacks triggered a 2-day manhunt until a neighbor in a rural part of the state spotted something strange.
He was walking in this grass, and once I realized that there was no other people here and there was no other vehicles, I started freaking out.
That accused assassin may still be on the run, if not for some sharp-eyed neighbors. John Lordson told people in Green Isle who played a role in bringing Vance Boelter into custody.
Once I realized that there was no other people here and there was no other vehicles, I started freaking out.
Around 8 o'clock Sunday night, Wendy Thomas drove to her neighbor's house in rural Green Isle to pick up an address book. He wasn't home, so she was in and out pretty quick, all while talking with her dad on the phone.
As I was coming down the driveway, I said, "Dad, there's somebody in the front yard."
As she was leaving the property, she saw the man ducked down by a culvert.
As I was turning my truck this way, I could see him clear as day, just squatting there. And I'm like, that's a person.
Rattled by what she saw, Thomas sped away and quickly came across a sheriff's deputy on patrol. He told her to take cover near County Road 11. Authorities then closed in on the property. Less than 2 hours later, Vance Boelter was in custody after crawling on his hands and knees towards law enforcement.
This is where Boelter crawled out of the marsh. You can see how the grass and weeds are trampled down, and you can see the glow sticks that law enforcement used to light up the area.
I was pretty traumatized, and I had to go take a break with my brother and just let some tears out.
This is where he crunched down when Wendy drove out of my driveway.
Kevin Efforts returned to his home to find the FBI and others there. Since Boelter's house was just a mile away, Efforts thinks he was trying to get back there, but he's not sure why. He used to plow Vance Boelter's driveway in the winter, and like his neighbors, he's left with more questions than answers.
But he never had any political views that we talked about. It was always about, the weather, what's going on, how's your family. A guy, you shake your hand with him and everything else, and then he does this, which is really strange.
In Sibley County, John Lordson, WCCO News.
What do you think about that? That is creepy. Yeah, those conditions. You grew up north of Minnesota in Winnipeg, Manitoba? I like to say the word Manitoba. Manitoba. Isn't that associated with the other guy, the Making the Murderer guy? Isn't that around that area? It is living out in the sticks, isn't it? My mother would agree with you and would love to live out in the middle of nowhere. She would love to do that. You know what about live out in the middle of nowhere content? All right. Avery, is that his name? Avery? Making a murderer? Is it Avery? Oh, Manitoba. Oh, yeah, that's different. Wait, is it Manitoba? Manitoba? Something else. Something else. Hold on. Stephen Avery is his name. Stephen Avery. Yeah. Where are they from? They're from Wisconsin. Manitowoc County. That's completely different. Okay. I'm totally off base. I'm totally in a different state. Going to jump off. My phone's having an attitude and won't chart. Okay, Ava, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for so long. I appreciate you. You're walking distance to a convenience store? Bye, Ava. Okay, so law enforcement investigated further, discovered the Buick and Boelter purchased, or that Boelter purchased from Witness 1, abandoned on Highway 25, close to the location of the reported e-bike sighting. So that wasn't her. That was another person with sharp eyes, as the news said. Sharp eyes. Okay, so there we go. Now we got a little map here. Let me know if the chat's in the way. So it says the Buick was recovered here, close to Sun's Excavation and Septic, north of O'Day Trucking. And then he went bloop, 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 down the road with his e-bike. And then possible sighting of a male on a bike right here. And then his residence. So maybe that is it. Maybe that is it. Maybe he abandoned that bike and got down in those weeds and stuff because he didn't get to his house in time before daylight hit. That makes sense to me. That tracks. Bye, Ava. Okay, so law enforcement approached the vehicle using a drone to check for explosives or other potential safety concerns. You bought that Buick for less than $900? That looks like a nice car. Y'all be selling cars cheap up there. An e-bike and that for $900? Yeah, y'all are selling cars cheap. Makes you wonder, right? Things that make you go, So law enforcement drone approaching abandoned Buick. A search of that vehicle uncovered, among other things, what appeared to be the cowboy hat that Boelter wore when captured in the U.S. bank security footage. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. $100 a bottle of moonshine. Yeah, yeah, what the F? The whole region, Manitoba, North Dakota, northern Minnesota was the, I don't even want to pronounce that, Agassiz Lake thousands of years ago after the glaciers retreated. Well, look at you giving us a history lesson. That's Wisconsin. Yeah, I agree with you. Manitowoc. Yeah, Avery. Avery was Manitowoc. Yeah. Yeah, I was wrong. I was in a whole different state. You're right. You're totally right. So we did so far I've hit 4 of the 5 super chats for the Would You Rather fun stream and open panel road to 1K. I'm so excited. We're going to have such a party. We're going to have such a party when we hit 1K. I'm so excited. All you guys have been here with me for so long today. I really appreciate you. I love hanging out with you guys. Honestly, a lot of these characters in this entire story are sus for me. Their accounts aren't adding up. Yeah, I said that myself when I started reading over it. I wasn't sure. That's why I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about it because I wasn't sure how I felt. Wait, what? You walked away. What happened? Yeah, the weird friend for sure. Oh yeah, we've got a second interview from him. I'm so close. So close content. I'm so excited. I just need to get, oh, you got a crown. Yay. Yay, Bella. Yeah, I'm so close. I had such a freaky month last month. I would have probably hit the 1K had I been able to go live, and it was so hard with Grandma having the issues that she was having. Oh, I'm getting really, really close, Rubber. Really close. I think we're about 23 or 24 off. But I don't want to say too much because then people will leave me because I said something about it. I want to be excited about it. Oh, you don't have to buy a crown. A lot of people get it just for chit-chatting, saying, hey, this, that, and the other. You queen, go queen. Snap your fingers, Abellas. 22 away. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Is that not exciting? Oh my gosh. Grandma is home. She's doing really good. She's doing really good. She's walking around today. She's got a little swollen ankles and her little hip is sore, but I'm really proud of her. She got up, she did her thing. She was able to get in and out of the shower by herself today. And at 86, let me tell you, that is a complete and utter shock to me after the month that we had. I really thought she was bound for uh, a permanent assisted living. So I'm really proud of her. Yes, yay on the walking, Hannah. I also showed her that video that you sent me. So I was very happy about that. Everybody's been really good to me through that. And my brother's motorcycle accident, he had 67 stitches, and he probably will not be back up working or on a motorcycle until September. So that's sad for him and his family, but they'll be okay. You need help to shower, Abellis? No, you don't. You fibbing. You fibbing. A search of that vehicle uncovered, among other things, what appeared to be the cowboy hat Boelter wore when captured in the U.S. bank security footage, as well as handwritten letter directed to the FBI. In that letter, the writer, who claimed his name was Dr. Vance Luther Boelter, admitted to being the shooter at large in Minnesota involved in the two shootings in the morning of Saturday, June 15th. At approximately 9:10 p.m. on June 15, 2025, law enforcement located Boelter in a field in Green Isle, Minnesota, approximately 1 mile from his family residence. Officers took Boelter into custody. Based on the foregoing, I submit this is probable cause. I definitely would agree with you, sir. Vance Luther Boelter committed stalking in violation of the law, as well as using a firearm to murder somebody during a retaliation to stalking in violation of the law, and discharging of a firearm during retaliation to stalking in violation of the law. You think? You think, sir? Your nose is growing. Your nose is growing. Let's watch the second interview by this tool of a best friend, shall we? The same another 4 minutes of fame. He's still looking okay. I'm gonna reserve judgment. Let's not do it. Let's not be mean. Hi, Katya. Hi, Katya. Welcome in, TCA. How was your sleep, lady of the UK? Hannah, you did what? Oh, I thought you said you got. I'm sorry. I totally read that wrong. Yeah, you caught it. I'm so excited. Thank you so very much. I'm so excited. 19 to go. You want to go back to sleep? Oh no. 19 to go. So excited. You guys are so good to me. Thank you, content. I really appreciate you. Cindy says, good morning, Katya. I'm giving you hugs and kisses. Yep. No going to bed. Time to get up. Got to go to work. Time to go to work. All right. Let's see what this guy has to say today.
Sheets of body armor or bullets or any of that?
No. He was always kind of into the military stuff, but it was just we were always like that. Me and him, we used to play army men.
How long had you guys known each other?
Well, since fourth grade, it's been 45 years, 50 years. Wow, it's been longer than that? Yeah, it must have been longer than that. Since I was 12, probably. Fourth grade. How old were you? Forever we've been friends.
Yeah.
And then,
did you link him up with this house to live with you? Were you excited about that 2 years ago?
Well, he's been living up here for a while. He was living in Bloomington. He was a manager of a food place.
Yeah.
And then he quit the job and he went down to Africa, got things going down there. Said he wanted to start his own companies.
So the security company, was that fully formed, or was that just an idea?
That was just some fantasy. He would talk about it, but there.
Does anybody think that this guy just might be socially awkward, that he might just not, especially since he doesn't ever look at anybody when he talks? It might just be social awkwardness. Maybe he's not a tool after all, but just socially awkward. I don't know. Your grandson was 10 in the fourth grade?
There was no movement on that part. And yeah, it was. He always had a fascination with military equipment. So do I, but I'm 100 miles away from killing people.
Apparently, in his manifesto, there was some stuff.
What did he just say? I'm 100 miles away from killing people? Did he say that? So do I, but I'm not. I'm 100 miles away from killing people. What does that mean? I'm so confused. Fascination with military equipment.
I'm 100 miles away from killing people.
Apparently, in his manifesto, there was some stuff about Planned Parenthood.
He had a manifesto?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Was there any beliefs about abortion or?
Yeah, he was a strong. But he hasn't talked about abortion for years. I mean, this goes back through the 90s. He really hated abortion.
I'm sorry. Okay. That seems a little bit of a debacle here. He was really hated abortion in the 90s, but now he's all right. He's just going to go around. He's going to shoot whoever he wants, and politically motivated stalking, and he's just going to push in your house as a police officer in the middle of the night, and everything's cool. Abortion's bad, killing okay. Yeah, what the hell are you even saying, dude? The other fit was about killing people. This man was 100 miles away, maybe in thought. Maybe, but he wasn't that far off. I love these neighbors. Firestone said he never talked about politics. And this one says he really hated. I know. What the frick? Not making much sense to me. Norma, thank you so much for coming in. I'm so glad you're here hanging out with us. Hannah says hello, Norma.
But we hardly ever talk. I haven't talked really about abortion for him for years. I mean, and nothing that it was at length. That was at length.
And I was still kind of unsure, like, how did people know you had financial troubles? Like, you just heard that from him?
Well, he was trying to find it. He would always want to work, like 7 days a week, work. He's trying to get money to start his businesses and all that. So,
yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, but he didn't like. I don't like abortion, but
yeah,
I don't go to this extreme.
What did you know about these, like?
He didn't shoot people over abortion, bro.
Squad cars he had, like what the deal was with these cars he had?
Well, he was going to use them for a security company.
Oh.
So he bought them, and yeah, he was trying to start it up. So.
Because we've seen two today. Like, you know how many of those you have?
Yeah, I forgot that he had two. He has one. They towed it away in the back. That was his primary car. And, I guess he had another one.
Did you know that the other one had lights on it and everything?
Well, this one, the one back here, didn't have lights on.
Okay. I have to stand corrected. I need to educate myself before I start putting out misinformation. Okay. So obviously, this guy did this for political motivation, targeted specific political groups. Okay. So in the manifesto, I'm quoting in quotations, hit list with around 45 to 70 names exclusively of Democratic lawmakers and abortion rights advocates, including Representative Ilhan Omar, the Planned Parenthood personnel, and they've consistently described the attacks as politically motivated assassinations. So I stand corrected. Apparently it did have a lot more to do with that. So I didn't get that out of everything that we had read so far until we got here. So there's that. He preached in Africa and possessed a past in evangelical circles. Boelter had deep religious views. He appears to have opposed abortion and LGBTQ plus rights. Okay. There we go. I needed to educate myself, so I try to do that so I don't put out misinformation. Hi, Denise. I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're feeling better. It's so nice to see you. Good night. Get some sleep. Katya says night night, Denise. Yeah, content. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. They have a whole bunch of, you know, like I said, it is very politically uh charged, and since I don't know enough about it, I kind of stay in that unbiased place where there was a man doing F shit and now he's, effed around and found out and he's in jail for it. That's kind of where I'm at with that. Coffee time. Coffee time. Look, I don't have all the info, but I'm definitely going to research it as I go because I find it really disturbing when I find a subject and I get up here and I don't know anything about it. I'm trying to study it with you guys, but then I can't find the answers because I'm unwilling to go look for them. I don't want to do that. I think he just disliked anyone on the other side of where he stood. Oh yeah, I would agree with that. I've met a few people like that in my life, but they were 100 miles away from killing anybody. I'm being satirical, but oh no, don't spin on me. Go back
Just
there. I'm
had
sorry.
lights on the side. But I wish I.
When was the last time you talked to him?
Last night, and I wish I could go back in time and stop him. Say something to stop him. You never know that your best friend's just about to do things that he's accused of doing. And
was he acting different?
No.
He seemed normal.
Yeah, I mean, besides the appreciation for a friendship and all that.
And
he kind of, maybe he had to keep it all buried deep inside. And I wish I could have saw it, And we were having another friend from Kentucky move up here, and he was very excited about that. I mean, he was happy at times. And
where'd you guys grow up together?
We grew up together in Sleepy Eye.
Sleepy Eye.
Yeah.
And can I ask your name again, if you're comfortable sharing?
David Carlson.
David Carlson. Okay, is Carlson with a K or a C?
C.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, we watched that one first. I think we might have been backwards on it, but that's okay. Yeah, we watched it first. And I don't consider what you were doing technically mocking him, honestly. I consider it to be one of those things where we're just kind of trying to figure out, he did make himself look like a total tool. I mean, he was like, I've got to go. I've got to do this. I got to do that. Yeah, maybe he is, issues. Let's see. Vance Boelter's education and employment history. Let's look at that, what it says. Diploma in Practical Theology, Leadership, and Pastoral from Christ of the Nations Institute here in Dallas in the 80s, 1988 to 1990. He has an undergraduate degree in international relations. Details on the school aren't confirmed. It was likely in his 20s. But he has a master's degree and a doctorate in leadership from Cardinal. I don't know if that's Stritch or Strike. Sorry, I don't know that school. Cardinal Strike or Stritch University, a now defunct institution. He worked in food service, reportedly served as general manager of a 7-Eleven in his early career. He worked in the funeral home industry at some point. The details are minimal. He served as a pastor and international missionary, preaching in locations such as Africa, Gaza, and the West Bank. Criticized LGBTQ plus rights and abortion in his sermons often. He claimed to direct Praetorian Guard security services registered at his Green Isle address with an alleged fleet of police-type vehicles. Yeah. Also listed himself on LinkedIn as CEO of Red Lion Group, which he claimed operated in the Democratic Republic of Congo. However, NPR noted there's no verifiable record of any actual contracts or military security service that he owned in the Congo. public service appointment. He was appointed to Minnesota's Governor's Workforce Development Board in 2016 and reappointed in 2019. His term ended in 2023. In court proceedings, he reported limited income, claiming $500 or $540 a week, despite owning property and multiple vehicles. His background is a mix of theology education, food service management, funeral service roles, missionary activities, and self-proclaimed security entrepreneurship. He has some advanced degrees in public appointment, and he portrayed himself as a business leader with international experience, though independent sources cannot find verification of it. Interesting. Well, he had a lot going on then. Can't fault the man for wanting to be a professional student. If I were able to be a professional student, I would be. Okay, and the last thing that we're going to go over today. Beep. All right, and this is actually from the state. There's 7 pages of this, and this is actually the state charges of what they had. This is also found on the website. If anybody needs the documents or wants to know how to, where to, how to get them, all of that stuff, you let me know. Thank you very much to whoever gifted me a membership. That would have been our lovely Abellis. Abellis, thank you so much for gifting Eddie a membership. And Eddie, thank you so much for coming by to see me. I'm glad he was caught too. I'm really glad he was caught. You're almost, what did you say? I am almost asleep listening to, oh, I love your voice too. Abellis is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so the state of Minnesota, these are the state charges. What we went over earlier was a federal. So this is the state's warrant or their complaint. And they're saying they have probable cause to believe the defendant committed the following. And you have count 1, count 2, minimum of 3 years for murder in the second degree with intent not premeditated. Now, I'm not sure about this charge. I don't, it does tend to change sometimes on the state side, so we'll see what happens with that. Vance Luther acted with intent to kill, caused the death of victim 1 by using a firearm, caused the death of victim 2 by using a firearm. On or about June 14th, Vance Luther, acting with the intent to kill, attempted to cause the death of victim 3 using a firearm. Attempted to cause the death of victim 4 using a firearm. Complainant. That words are hard right now. Oh my goodness. Oh, you blushing? Oh, you're so cute. Complainant has investigated the facts and circumstances of this offense and believes the following established probable cause. So this is the same thing that we read basically about him being on the exterior of the residence, and then it showed the SUV, it shows the lights, it showed the yellow gripped gun approaching the front door with a flashlight, the defendant knocking, victims 1 and 2, 3 and 4. A short time later, them running into him, and he fled the residence before escaping the area. That's still a mystery to me, like how, I mean, we saw the picture of him walking into this house, and after they arrived even, they heard gunshots after they were already there, and then he was able to walk out of there and leave. Isn't that scary? It's a scary thought to me. So police exchanged gunfire with the defendant. Oh, there it is. Okay. A short time later, the Brooklyn Police Department learned of the shooting in Champlin. Because one of the victims is a state legislator, police proactively sent patrol officers to the home of another state legislator in Brooklyn Park. When officers arrived at approximately 3:35 a.m., they saw the Ford SUV with police-style lights and immediately saw the defendant, still dressed as a police officer, shoot an adult man, referred to herein as victim 2, through the open door of the home. Police exchanged gunfire with defendant, who fled inside the residence before escaping the area. Inside the residence, officers found 2 adults deceased from gunshot wounds, victim 2 and his wife. Victim 1 was also a state legislator. So they did fire at him. Okay, so that's Good night, Indy. We're about to end out here too. You sleep well. We'll see you soon. So basically, when they were talking about the federal charges, they didn't really bring up the state charges of where they've actually, the state police have exchanged gunfire with this person. And then he got inside of the residence and was able to shoot the second victim as well, and then escape while under duress and gunfire. So officers searched the defendant's vehicle, registered to him, located at least 3 AK-47 assault rifles, a 9mm handgun, as well as the list of names and everything that we saw there. Because the defendant has not been apprehended and this case has significant media attention, your complaint request this warrant be sealed. It's been since unsealed. Katya, be safe driving. Be safe. So then they had all of these people that they needed to get the approval from. They found probable cause, issued the warrant, executable nationwide. And since the defendant is already in custody, I order subject to bail or conditions of release, the defendant continue to be detained pending further proceedings. Bail in the amount of $5 million. Conditions of release. The complainant duly sworn in, signed under penalty of perjury, is issued by the undersigned judge. Well, wow. And this is the fact sheet of the guy. So it doesn't, date of birth 1967. So he's no spring chicken. No spring chicken. And so these are his offenses right here. Well, there we go. That was a wild one. This is wild. Yeah, that's wild. Right, Hannah? Wild. All right, before we close out here, it was wild. Thank you guys all for hanging out with me. I know it's deeply troubling, definitely complex. It was fun to go over it though and get to know the case together because this is new. So, Vance Luther Boelter, we're going to keep watching it. We're going to keep following the case. We're going to keep those affected in our thoughts, particularly the families, especially those who lost their loved ones and those who survived but are going to continue to carry the trauma indefinitely. I appreciate all of the conversation, all of your questions, all of the definitely respectful engagement that we had in the chat tonight. And let's see, I want to thank again Abellis for the 50 gifted memberships to the Guardians of Firelight. Thank you so much, Abellis. Jackie, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Indy was a member for 1 month, also gifted a super chat of $1.99. I really appreciate that. Jackie says super chat won't let her comment, so she just made a small token. I appreciate that so much. Cindy loves our channel and has been a member for 2 months, and Lois came by with a super chat for $5. And then Cindy said, Hill, I adore you, and I love you too, and I appreciate everything that you guys do for me and for the channel. Before I go, I'll say thank you. Yeah, till next time, we'll hang out again. We'll hang out really, really soon. Thanks for hanging with Hio, guys. Have a wonderful evening.